Hello to you, Internet! How you doing? Well, we're about halfway through the spring semester, and my choices of taking economics and psychology for my Associates of Arts is informing me quite nicely why artists eventually go insane.
Well, what's actually insane was you thinking that you could make it as a YouTuber.
Should have just moved on when I got my degree in engineering science, but no. It would be interesting to minor in cinematography.
Like it was interesting for Weinstein to major in minor cinematography. Fucking fat weirdo.
Anyways, guys, the school year is beating down on me, trying to transfer and strip my soul of any will to live, and the constant reminder that my bank account has less money in it than I currently have subscribers, and yet, it was the previous RWBY episode that truly broke me. So like my psychologist says, why not talk about it?
Last time we got another look at Yang and her ongoing battle with depression. Yeah, I feel for you, girlfriend. After 2 hours of hearing some pleb drone on about how our economy's fucked, I want to kill myself too. Well, Yang doesn't go that far, for after a small talk with her father and old teachers, aka the only two teachers working at Beacon, she thinks that despite not feeling up to it, despite still having reoccurring nightmares of Doofus McCann voice act, despite still being afraid of even her own damn shadow, despite being broken, despite losing a vital piece of her life, despite the fact that they only spent about like 3.652 seconds on all of that, she thinks that she should just pop on her robot arm and get back to training. God, Rooster Teeth just can't write a good story. But they can write good characters, as we finally got to see Yang's mother, Raven. Despite seeing her in Volume 2's end credit scene, which should have followed over to having her play a vital role in Volume 3. Sorry, lost my train of thought. Which is something that Crow kept doing as his sister continued to ask for news on what Salem's up to. However, her brother's not interested in helping Raven ignore her family for the sake of her bandit entourage. I guess he's never heard of the saying, slaughters before daughters. We then get a bit of foreshadowing before Raven springs out of there. Oh yeah, and we got some news that the pedo principal may still be alive, now stalking some kid named Oscar.
And yes, we did go over the recap a little fast, but so was Yang's romp through the 5 stages of grief. Anyways, let's start the review. Lakana, roll the clip.
Why couldn't they have rushed through this? Skip. We then return to... excuse you?
That wasn't me.
Yeah, I've heard that one before.
Is your face still attached to your skull?
Yes.
Then it wasn't me.
Oh, it turns out that it was the boat announcing its arrival to Menagerie, as our two kitties disembark to find... Holy crap! This is a furry's wet dream.
Elon, we have found the promised land. We'll announce this on Twitter soon enough, but first, we start with some genetic sampling.
Anyways, this turns out to be Sun's first time in the homeland, and he's...
Sure is, crowded, huh?
The hell you talking about, dude? You have enough personal space there to make this guy happy. Well, more possible script errors aside, Blake explains that after the war, many fuck it, I give up. Many of the furries moved to this island that was given to them. However, since it's 2/3 desert and the equivalent of Australia where even the fucking bunnies are poisonous, it's not exactly paradise. She goes on complaining that they were segregated, that their people are still looked down upon, that they are just trying to make the best with what this is. This shit!
Oppressed my f***ing ass!
You people are living in a paradise, you social justice pieces of shit! Okay, my point is, as Sun points out, that this place isn't that bad. Even if they still think that mainstream racism is a thing. Anywho, what also isn't too bad, as it turns out, is where Blake lives.
That one.
Cue the new meme! The two then reach the goddamn mansion, and after some hesitation from Blake, she knocks on the door.
Okay, if we're being honest, that's kind of intimidating.
If you think that's bad, just give it a moment, huh? Nothing, just make sure your butthole's loose, supposed son-in-law.
Blake?
There's 2 of them! Move.
Oh, no! Damn! Pants go! Damn!
Yes, it turns out that this little kitty is Blake's mommy, and her daddy is apparently the luchador El Pumo Negro Chiquinte. The four then sit down for some tea as the adults express their happiness to see that Blake is alright after what happened to Vale. So Sonny Boy can't help but ruin the moment.
I've seen your daughter in action before, and trust me, she's got some moves.
Phrasing.
And this is where his chances to sail the high seas sunk.
And it looks like Gara doesn't approve of this ship either, as his mere presence causes his son to talk himself into a corner.
She's such a good fighter and all. And as a fellow fighter, she's definitely above average. I mean, this tea is really good.
I like him.
Black Sun confirmed.
You will recant that heresy, or you will lose your balls!
For God's sakes.
Well, the group is interrupted by a knock at the door, which turns out to be... the Jehovah's Witnesses, apparently. Even in fictional fairy tales, you can't escape these bastards. They're like herpes, they're just fucking everywhere. No, it's even worse! The White Fang! Or as we find out from the Bella Daddy, a branch of the White Fang. As it turns out, even though they've heard about what happened to Vale and Beacon, the Belladonnas didn't hear that the White Fang played a part in its fall. However, the doggy duo here explained that the Vale branch and its leader, Adam Taurus, have splintered off and are no longer following High Leader Khan.
Sorry, had to do it. It's the law of the internet.
Your Grace, we came to assure you that Brother Taurus and his followers do not represent the will of the White Fang.
And how can I be sure of that?
The White Fang's tactics are admittedly more aggressive since you stepped down as High Leader and became Chieftain of Menagerie. But this is no way to make our message heard.
Well, judging by the ominous music and your Weasley demeanor, these guys be totally telling the truth. Dogs are man's best friend, after all. Though wishing to learn more, Chieftain Gara informs them that they will have to catch up another time, as he wishes to do the same right now with his daughter.
Goodbye, gentlemen.
So, those guys were creepy.
I really don't like you.
Bumblebee confirmed.
Your vote doesn't count. Mama Kelly has already made up her mind.
Well, that's because she hasn't met Yang yet.
Outside, as the brothers descend, we learn that, surprise, surprise, they were working with Adam Taurus all along. Oh my god, what a twist. I honestly did not see that coming. And speaking of a twist, we get another one in the next scene. Sort of.
I was hoping you could help me find someone.
Who the fuck are you? Oh yeah, you're the retard. And with that dumb foreshadowing, the video ends, and son of a bitch! That was really good.
And just like last time, you should know that there are some stipulations with that. But yes, on the whole, this was like a polar opposite to the previous episode.
Which, I guess, sort of makes sense, since the last one was about Yang.
I see you're coming around. Give in to your feelings. Let the bumblebee flutter through you.
And similar to last time, my points can be summed up in 3 ways. Though this time they're called the poor, the fine, and the excellent.
And like last time, there was only a little bit of the first, starting with that ending, cause, whew! I'm sorry, Grell, but you suck as a psycho. Now, this is not something unique to RWBY, as many other shows struggle to present a good psychopathic villain. Hell, anime's the one with the most, and they nearly all suck harder than you do when you try to get that last bit of slushy, but now that you want it to melt, it just won't fucking melt! Anyways, I really don't put too much blame on Josh Grell, as he doesn't really do this kind of character, and it is hard to pull off even when you got the personality down. But it's the fact that this guy comes off more as annoying than scary. A good psycho is one that is either human enough for us to sympathize with and see the character past the crazy, or so batshit insane that they just want to watch the world burn, i.e. the entertaining kind. However, Tyrion just sounds like he's trying too hard, which may be Josh's problem, or it could be that Miles and Carrie have never created a character like this, and thus they're just literally winging it, like they do with everything else. Because Tyrion wasn't the only poor thing that was developed in the show. The other is this stupid continuation of the idea that the Faunus are being mistreated or something. If it wasn't for the fact that I know how much these buffoons don't care, I would have think that some SJW nonsense slipped into my RWBY.
Oh, God, no. Look, I don't care if she's a lesbian. In fact, I actually think I prefer it. But there are no good-looking social justice wenches out there.
Now, Lekanon, we don't judge people on how they look, remember?
Don't you dare compare my sexy form to those trolls!
Anywho, I'm not gonna get into any real-world political reflections here, because personally I think it's just a bunch of self-righteous monkeys flinging their poo. Instead, I'm gonna stick with the perverted monkeys flinging their poo. I mean, waifus. But this is mainly due to the fact that they didn't really show us any real evidence before now. So it's hard to get behind the notion that the faunus are living these belittled lives. Especially after we see this thriving community. It may be what Blake was trying to put out, among the usual vomit that the white man is keeping us down, that it's more about the principle of the matter than any direct hate. Whether it be them trying to give the faunus a land of their own, or in an attempt to quietly segregate and silence them, you can't deny that this indeed does isolate the faunus.
I mean, we know it can't be done because faunus can't be racist. They don't have the institutional power to back it up.
You idiots keep on making fools of yourselves. Eventually, the Mexicans will rule this world. Viva la revolution!
Speaking about controversial jokes that are likely to get me banned, another one is how the hell no one knows about the White Fang and their dealings?
Yes, I understand that the CTTS towers went down, but way before that, Roman was arrested. Remember him? God, I miss him. But yeah, it's clear that he, along with some of the White Fang, were attacking Vale. So why haven't the people of Menagerie heard of it? Well, it's likely due to the fact that they are segregated. If not due to who they are, then because of where they are. Cut off from much of the rest of the world and keeping to themselves, it's likely they wouldn't even care to notice much of what is occurring outside their little paradise. Which brings me to the fine aspect of this episode, because while the execution was a little shaky, the results were nevertheless pretty damn good. Learning quite organically that there are many other factions and branches to this rebellious group helps us to understand why they attract so many members in the first place. Like Blake once said in Volume 1, they did used to be more peaceful. It would have been inevitable for a splinter group who didn't want to wait anymore and wanted to start making changes their way to break from the main fold. And revealing this to us through the eyes of each side helps us to finally begin to sympathize with these people.
What the hell do you mean by these people, cracker?
One thing that does feel a little cliche is having the Wolf brothers here pretty much spell out to the audience that they're double-crossing. But it's not like we couldn't figure that out for ourselves. And I do think it was a better choice to just come out with it rather than try for some lame twist later on.
And now for the excellent part of the episode.
Considering your usual reputation to add shit into your praises, I don't hold much hope for what you're gonna say.
The first and best thing is this new addition of world building, and I'm just gonna come out and say it, that the change in the art style has now proven its necessity. This town of Cuaquana is nothing less than gorgeous. The Maya engine must have been pushed to its limits, because everything from the houses to the plant life is breathtaking. Which makes sense considering RWBY's new upgraded budget of 2 bologna sandwiches and a root beer float. And that may be why the area didn't seem as crowded as the two were complaining. With only so much resources that the animation department have to share, they would only be able to render a very limited amount of NPCs. Granted, they could have just scaled down the size of those frickin' roads, but again, I think it goes more to the principle of the matter. And besides, this is the first time I have to say that I've been convinced of the new art style for the background characters. Originally, I really liked the fully shaded character design, as it felt unique and blended well with the focus of cel shading, where the main characters were the ones that needed the focus, and the background characters were, well, left in the shadows. However, upon seeing all the diverse and detailed faunus walking around, I do believe that this was a good use of their resources, especially since it now makes the world feel filled and lived in. I do have some questions on exactly how many kinds of attributes the faunus share, and how those genetic traits are passed down. That doesn't count, but none of it is a deal breaker, as again, there seems to be a natural feel to the life here.
As for me, I only have 3 questions. 1, are there any more sexy kitties there? 2, have they all had their shots? And 3, where do I order some?
Now, jumping back to the subject of main cast, while I feel that Tyrion is going to have a very hard time getting better in the future, Miles and Carrie have pretty much nailed it with the Belladonnas, which is mostly thanks to the voice actors, I suppose. The first is another minor actress, Tara Platt, who just does a wonderful job portraying the lovely Callie. Even though she's only had a few lines so far, you can just feel that motherly side shine through her voice. I mean, god damn, listening to her just makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside.
She makes me want to feel something warm and fuzzy, too. What's going on? Ah, she's a cat! I just want to pet her on her cute little head. And maybe pet her kitty cat, too.
God damn it.
Well, you better watch what you say, dude, because while she might be the nurturing mother feline, there's no doubt who's the big cat here. Holy cow! Whoever they got to voice Gira did a spectacular job at conveying that size to match his own. Through tone alone, he brings that commanding aspect, befitting his role of both leader of Menagerie and the former leader of the White Fang. I wonder who they got to voice... That Williams?!
How the hell did they manage to blacklist another A-lister into working for them? Well, that explains why he's so good at playing a father. He has some experience. Oh, hopefully this time he doesn't eat his kid.
Unless that entitles eating her out. Nope. You know what? Can't finish that joke. Even I have standards.
That's a fucking surprise.
Though, now that I'm thinking about it...
However, what isn't is, again, Rooster Teeth's ability to make character interactions feel natural and genuine.
Throughout the episode, we get some wonderful moments of friendship between Blake and Sun, and then a family connection that wasn't marred by missing members or terrible fathers. Though we know Ken could bring it if he wanted to. It also creates a new connection between our main girls. Back in season 1, Weiss explained how hard it was with her father, and now we can see how Blake was able to empathize with her. Knowing that her own dad was one of the most caring in the world, and yet she ran from her family, would help her to feel for Weiss, whose father was horrible, and yet she couldn't escape him. Full circle, I guess, though it now looks like all our girls will be having more things to battle against soon. Blake will likely have to fight against the White Fang that she's tried to flee from. Yang will have to fight against her own father to get herself back into shape. Weiss too will probably have to do the same thing as well, so hopefully it ends with Jacques the cock getting skewered like a kebab.
I second that.
And as we saw with this episode's ending, Ruby too will be having to deal with Crazy McRapeface soon. Though he might have some trouble with Daddy Crow hanging around.
Anyways, Internet, this was a much better episode than previous ones. I guess praying does help.
Well, you're still single, so I wouldn't give much credit to that.
Either way, whatever may await our girls in the next one, my spirits have been lifted enough to have some hope for this season. Though, if Tyrion gets more screen time with his stupid laugh, I might just gouge out my eardrums with a pair of pliers.
Either way, guys, that's the end of the review. Thank you all so much for watching. Remember to give this video a like if you did, and subscribe if you want to see more. Just remember to hit the bell icon so that I'm not forgotten under much better content. I'm Ricardo, the Cynical Critic. With me, no movie's sacred, nobody is safe, but all deserve a chance. I'll catch you guys next week. Doodles!
The fuck is in the air? The fuck? There's white shit everywhere. The fuck? I must be fucking baked and this shit's probably fake. The fucking hell did I just take? The fuck? The fuck? The fuck? There's something fucking wrong. The fuck? These bitches singing songs. The fuck? The streets are lined with sketchy creatures laughing. Why the fuck are they so happy? Holy hell, these things are creepy.
Excuse me, the fuck did you just say?